Last year, Penn State football, how do I put this mildly? They sucked. They went 4-5, which clearly shows my blue blood bias because a lot of FBS teams would kill for that kind of record. But 2020 was by far the worst year of James Franklin's tenure at Penn State and the worst year Penn State football has had since 2004. You can cry COVID all you want, but we lost to Maryland and Nebraska, and I'm honestly not even sure which of those losses is worse. So naturally, since Penn State had such a bad year out of nowhere, this left a lot of people wondering, is Penn State going to be good again, or are they going to be just as bad or worse than they were last year? And to me, this seems like a really easy question. They're definitely going to be better than they were last year. To explain why I'm so confident about this, let's actually take a quick trip to Israel. In book form. In the book Thinking Fast and Slow, which I don't have to show you because I lent it to my brother and he hasn't given it back yet, Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman tells a story about one time that he worked with the Israeli Air Force. The instructor of all the Air Force pilots noticed that when a pilot did exceedingly well and he would praise them, they would tend to do worse in the future. And when they did poorly, he would criticize them and they would tend to do better. And this seemed really odd to him because he had always thought that praise is better for helping people and criticism isn't as great, but those he praised did worse and those he criticized did better. So Kahneman took a look at the data and saw what was going on. Essentially, the pilots conduct so many of these training exercises that you could plot their performance along a normal distribution curve, with the vast majority of their performances falling somewhere in the middle, and then the really outlier kind of performances falling on the tail ends of the curve. So if a pilot had an outlier performance that was extremely good, when the instructor goes to praise them, it doesn't really matter if they would praise them or scold them or say nothing. Because it was such an outlier performance, that pilot is likely to regress to the mean, regardless of what kind of feedback they do or don't receive. And the inverse is true of pilots who did extremely poorly. Because that performance was an outlier for them, their next performance is almost guaranteed to regress closer to the mean of their performance, regardless of what kind of feedback they did or didn't receive from their instructor. So back to Penn State, the reason I am so confident that Penn State is not going to be as bad in 2021 as they were in 2020 is because of the concept of regression to the mean. Here was Penn State's performance in 2020. They went 4-5 with a winning percentage of 4/9 or .444. And here you can see the records and winning percentages for all other years of James Franklin's tenure. If we combine these records in an unweighted average, we see that throughout Franklin's entire tenure at Penn State, he's had an average win percentage of .67, or basically 2/3. In a 12-game season, this is approximately equal to 8 wins. To be as bad in 2021 as they were in 2020, Penn State would have to go 5-7 this year. Now, unfortunately, I forgot a long time ago how to do the precise statistics and z-score mapping to tell you what the exact chances of this happening again are, but it's very obvious from looking at Penn State's overall performance that 2020 year was very bad, and just statistically, it's not likely to happen again. But if it does happen again and they continue to suck, well, I don't have the book I'm basing this video off of, so I don't plan on taking any responsibility for that. Yeah, I like that plan. Thanks for watching, and let's see if I can edit this video in time for it to come out before the Wisconsin game. Peace.